On March 30th, 1981, outside the iconic Washington Hilton Hotel in D.C., President Ronald Reagan was leaving with his security detail when a gunman opened fire in a chaotic burst. One bullet struck Reagan directly in the chest. Panic erupted everywhere. Several members of his team were also hit, but somehow, Reagan survived. Fast forward 45 years to the same hotel grounds, and another U.S. president faces an assassination attempt. Gunshots ring out again. But this time, no one gets seriously hurt, and many Americans aren't even buying it as a genuine threat. There's a good reason for the skepticism. The Secret Service, those elite protectors we see glorified in Hollywood movies, are either turning into one of the most incompetent forces around, or this whole thing smells like a scripted distraction, cooked up by Team Trump to shift attention away from sinking poll numbers and the escalating tensions with Iran. Here's what went down on April 25, 2026. President Donald Trump arrives at the Washington Hilton for the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Barely 15 minutes in, shots echo from outside. Chaos breaks loose instantly. Trump and his top officials are quickly whisked away to safety. Before anyone could get hurt, the Secret Service tackled and arrested the shooter. The investigation revealed the gunman had clear intentions of targeting Trump and key members of his administration. Initial suspicions pointed toward Iran, maybe a sleeper agent or terrorist operative. But so far, no solid evidence has linked him to any foreign government or organized terror group. This marks the third serious attempt on Trump's life in just the past 2 years. Two things stand out clearly. First, the U.S. Secret Service is far from the deadly efficient machine it's cracked up to be. The fact that an armed intruder could get this close to such a high-priority target is deeply embarrassing. No wonder Iran is now openly mocking them. You can't even protect your own president. How do you expect to secure the Hormuz Strait? But setting the bad jokes aside, Donald Trump appears to be one of the luckiest or most protected people alive. It almost feels like some higher, non-biological force is watching over him. How else do you explain surviving 3 assassination bids in 2 years with barely a scratch? Maybe we're watching a carefully staged production. In the last 24 hours, a huge chunk of American social media and the public has concluded that this was a fake or exaggerated attempt designed to boost Trump's image, distract from his declining approval ratings, and divert eyes from the Iran situation. So, how much of this is fact and how much is conspiracy theory? Let's break it down. It was around 8:30 p.m. Nearly 2,600 people filled the grand ballroom at the Hilton. Mostly journalists, their families, and the entire top tier of the Trump administration, including figures like Kash Patel, Scott Bessent, RFK Jr., J.D. Vance, and Tulsi Gabbard. Trump had just arrived and was settling in as the program kicked off. Suddenly, gunfire erupted from outside. Plainclothes Secret Service agents sprang into action. They yanked J.D. Vance off the stage first, then scrambled to evacuate Trump and Melania. Trump seemed momentarily stunned, unsure what was happening, and even stumbled briefly before being rushed out. In the audience area, Tulsi Gabbard got briefly trapped between tables, while Kash Patel, the FBI director, looked bewildered. Stephen Miller was reportedly seen ducking behind his pregnant wife, drawing plenty of online eye rolls about chivalry. Amid the frenzy, some reporters went live on air, while others whipped out phones to record. A few seemed more focused on filming themselves than the actual chaos. Once things calmed, a handful of guests casually returned to their tables to grab their wine bottles. Because apparently, even in a crisis, good booze shouldn't go to waste. Soon, details emerged. A man named Cole Thomas Allen had tried to breach a security checkpoint in the hotel lobby. He was armed with a shotgun, handgun, and several knives. Agents opened fire. Allen shot back, hitting one Secret Service agent whose vest saved him. In the brief exchange, Allen was subdued and arrested within seconds. The situation was under control in under an hour, and Trump plus the officials were safely evacuated. Shortly after, Trump appeared on live TV, never one to miss turning a crisis into an opportunity. He used the moment to push for his long-desired massive personal ballroom at the White House. arguing it would be bigger, more secure, drone-proof, and far safer than events like this. "This is exactly why we need it," he said, essentially framing the incident as proof for his pet project. Many hoped the attacker would turn out to be an Iranian operative, fitting the foreign enemy narrative. But Allen's background tells a different story. He's a 31-year-old mechanical engineering graduate from Caltech, who worked part-time as a teacher and was even named Teacher of the Month at one point. He developed video games as a hobby. Overall, he came across as an ordinary, educated guy, not your typical assassin profile. His family said he got involved in activism while living in Los Angeles, allegedly joining a group called the Wide Awakes. Records show he donated to Kamala Harris's 2024 campaign. Yet he lived a double life, legally purchasing a powerful .38 caliber semi-automatic pistol in 2023 and a 12-gauge shotgun in 2025, passing background checks with no criminal record. On the evening of the 25th, Allen reportedly left a manifesto-style note for his family. In it, he declared himself a U.S. citizen, frustrated that his representative's actions reflected on him. He refused to permit a pedophile, rapist, and traitor to stain my hands with his crimes. While he didn't name Trump directly, the context was unmistakable. He listed primary targets as Trump administration officials, ranked from highest to lowest rank. Interestingly, sparing FBI Director Kash Patel. He stated Secret Service agents weren't his main targets. He'd only shoot if necessary, and explicitly said hotel staff and guests were off limits. The note also revealed shocking security lapses. Allen claimed he entered the hotel armed the day before Trump's event, and no one questioned him or raised alarms. He wandered around with weapons and drew zero suspicion. In his own words, the incompetence was staggering, and he basically provided a one-star security review in his manifesto. His family alerted authorities after finding the note, though it's unclear if the warning came before or after the shooting. Allen had transported the weapons by train, from Los Angeles to Chicago, then to D.C., checked into the Hilton as a regular guest the day before, and still faced minimal scrutiny. No thorough bag scans or sweeps, despite the high-profile event. This is where the real story gets wild. Either this is the absolute peak of incompetence, or it's a poorly written script. The U.S. Secret Service has a legendary reputation in films, but lately they've become a punchline, worse than traffic cops, according to critics. Some claim the lax security was intentional. Trump has historically skipped the correspondence dinner because he hates the tradition of presidents being roasted. Yet, despite his massive unpopularity in some circles, and his own past criticisms, he suddenly decides to attend this year, and an attack happens right then. Tickets only had table numbers, no names, no proper ID checks, no cross-verification. Security was reportedly loose, just a magnetometer on a different floor, allowing easy access upstairs to the ballroom if someone breached the checkpoint. The rest of the hotel operated normally, with regular guests checking in and out, while the security bubble was limited to the ballroom area. Agents in the corridors appeared relaxed on CCTV, taking precious seconds to react when Allen charged through at full speed. Afterward, Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche called it a massive success for security forces because no one died. But the multiple failures along the way? Crickets. People are struggling to reconcile this with the Secret Service's past ironclad record. For decades, no serious attempts got this close. Even during peak terrorism eras or under previous administrations, such breaches were unthinkable. Yet under Trump, security seems to have unraveled, with multiple high-profile lapses. This has fueled intense conspiracy theories online. The top one, it was staged. Trump's approval ratings are tanking, the Iran conflict is damaging his image, and the Epstein files are looming. A dramatic assassination attempt could serve as a perfect sympathy booster and distraction. Adding fuel, Trump's initial reaction included a small smile that some interpreted as knowing. His surprise attendance at an event he dislikes, mandatory attendance for his team, and a pre-event comment from a Trump ally hinting at some shots fired tonight, which could be innocent, but the internet isn't buying it. Conspiracy theories aside, there's a darker, undeniable angle: America's rising political violence. This isn't a bug, it's becoming a feature. We've seen attacks on Paul Pelosi, Charlie Kirk, Democratic figures, and more. Fringe elements exist on both left and right, fueled by toxic polarization, us versus them, with opponents labeled as vermin, fascists, or traitors. Supporters on both sides cheer it on. Allen's manifesto captured real rage. I experience rage thinking about everything this administration has done. That anger is genuine, amplified by events like the Iran strikes and domestic fallout. In a country where guns are easier to buy than beer, unchecked rage could spiral into mass violence. A recent movie like Civil War depicted a fractured America descending into chaos. It no longer feels like pure fiction. This is a warning to the world. Us versus them politics, driven by fear and hatred, can burn down even the strongest democracy. Leaders might exploit personal threats to undermine institutions, delay elections, or consolidate power. Today, it's a demand for a personal ballroom. Tomorrow, who knows what excuses could emerge.